mortals, to the second broadcast of the weekly Diesel Night News. It is I, your host, Jem, and this week has been a big one. Even though it has started sort of slow, it has quickly gone out of control. As 28 hours before the end of Kickstarter campaign, on Monday 28th, we have reached the last stretch goal, which is a short single-player campaign. On announcement of that news, the Discord server went insane, so much so that the main chat went in slow mode for that night. Shortly after, Xavier has made a Q&A, and it is the big news of this week. So, for those who haven't been there at the time, let me recap what was said. First of all, there was a few people who asked Xavier about his feelings regarding the community, the money, etc. He was very grateful and, most of all, shocked for everything that has happened those past 3 months. After all, he did just receive $500,000, and any dev would be overwhelmed. But he seems to be handling it pretty well. He said that he tries to view this project more as a job, to not lose himself in it. He's going to close his Ko-Fi for the time being as well. He seems to be one of those people that when you give them money, they just try to convince you not to give them the money, even though, you want to. And in a adjacent vein, someone asked about Xavier's opinion on fan-made art, be it fan art or animations. In his words, anything goes, except ripping models from the game, so anything 3D has to be handmade and not safe for work. There also was an idea thrown out to make some community art events, which Xavier didn't think of previously, but will take under consideration. But rest assured, I will be there to report whenever something of that nature happens. Rest of the questions were more either technical or regarding the game itself, so let's quickly go over that. Quadrupedal mechs. They are quite difficult to make, given that humanoids turn in place, but four-legged machines are longer. Think when you go prone in some games and your legs clip through walls. But he does find it cool, and would like to experiment with four-legged designs in the future. There was a question asked about if the world has any low fantasy elements, aka space magic, like the Eldritch Math from Lancer, things like that. Xavier says that the sense of wonder in the game's story will be derived from mystery and adventure, not from any fantastical elements. Is the story going to be more narrative or character focused? This question got kinda railroaded by the person asking, but instead we got some words of wisdom. Xavier says that great stories don't start big. The first thing they do is not to show their full world, but instead they give you only a fraction of what they actually are, and so plans to do Xavier. What's stopping the game from crashing and burning? Saying no. Discord community keeps throwing out some great ideas, but he has learned to say no to even the best ones. If it means making the game a thing, first he wants to get the game working, and only with time he'll add all those wonderful ideas. On a similar note, what is the inspiration and end goal for the game? Here Xavier says something that really resonates with me. Quote, "I guess I just want to play this game." End quote. This is precisely the mindset a game dev should have. Make games which you as dev want to play yourself. And it underlines something important, in my opinion. Even though we might regard Xavier in a higher regard, at the end of the day, he's just like us. He's one of us, a Titanfall fan, through and through. Someone who just saw the beautiful thing that TF2 was, and is pissed off about what happened to it. He just said, fine, I'll do it myself, and it's quite beautiful, I think. Other smaller questions include ones about weapons, such as any faction-specific weapons? No. A rotary cannon? Need player consensus? Maybe. Weapon customization? Yes, although not too extreme. We don't want any cursed meta-gun builds. Customizable weapon mounts for gunwalkers? Maybe? The balancing will be hard, though. Is there going to be a sword? Quote, "That would be very cool, wouldn't it?" I won't say much more about that. End quote. Most of the smaller questions were about animations and regarding any animations. Well, Xavier, coming from animation background, would love to add stuff like executions or pre-match loading animations or all sorts of those like very cool animated stuff. But they all will have to wait until the game is up and running, so that it won't end up in the forever development purgatory. Because animation takes time. Animation takes a long while. The reason why my next video isn't up yet is because the animations are just so long taking. We also have gotten some lore as well, such as mention of 407 Division, which is a airborne division, from what I gather mainly taking care of airborne transport. You know, the people that do the...
Stand by for Titanfall!
Originally the game was just red versus blue, but the lore has grown out so much that now there are going to be various factions, and of course there are only two. You know why? Because development time, everything this time. He did say that he has an entire map and like notes taken about various things, you know, like an average world builder stuff. Someone asked to clear up the Herald tier, and basically as a Herald tier you will have a choice to leave your design 1-to-1 or for the game artists to remake it, leaving of course the core identity of the design but making it look good in case you don't feel confident about your art skills. This is the bulk of the questions. I left some out because they were like minor and like not really on the theme of Diesel Nights, more like, hey, how do you feel? What's your opinion on this and that? After an hour or so, Q&A has come to an end, and 20-something hours later, so did the Kickstarter, with a fun amount of over $500,000 and almost 8,000 backers, which is, fun fact, will be the call sign for the mech in-game, like BT in Titanfall 2 being called BT 7274. In the same vein, a mech in Diesel Nights, some sort of mascot of the game, probably something like that, will have 7736 in its name, because that's the amount of final backers. And with the end of Kickstarter, of course, there was another just explosion on the Discord server, not as big as the one when the final stretch goal was achieved, but still, people went crazy. But achieving the end goal of the Kickstarter, subsequent Q&A, and an end of the Kickstarter would conclude all the news for this week's WDN broadcast. I was Jam, and I'll see you next Thursday.